Hey everyone, it's Libby from maighstirtarot. I'd like to acknowledge the Worimi First Nations people, that's W-O-R-I-M-I, and welcome to you, your guides, my guides in the universal energies. Now I know it's a Saturday, but hey, it's just me and the two furs here today, so why not? There's a lot to look at and goodness knows what's going to be happening by Monday. And when I say two furs, it might be three furs by this afternoon. I know it seems quick, but Sneaks was working there to bring a kitten across our path, and it appears she has done so. So if we go with this kitten, we're going to be introduced to it this afternoon, and if it feels right, we'll bring her home. And I'm just going to say the name just is absolutely perfect. So we were looking for a female kitten, um, something a little bit fluffy, but as far as anything else was concerned, needed to be good with dogs because we've got two of those. And we like a little scaredy kitten because we don't want the kitten, running out into the street or roaming terribly much. So it's a little female. The name of Onyx, and what a perfect name. So onyx is the crystal of strength and protection and grounding. Absolutely brilliant. But Nyx, N-Y-X, the abbreviation version of onyx, is also the goddess of the night, the domain of the unknown. That's her domain, is the unknown. And even Zeus was fearful of her power. So I'm really looking forward to meeting this little fur baby. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we've got everything set up. We know that there's going to be a kitten. This one just feels right. Okay, but what am I going to have a look at today in this particular reading? Quite a few of you have, not terribly many, because I know a lot of you understand that things happen in their own time. But a couple of people have said, why isn't he gone already? I've been reading since April last year that he was going to be having a vascular event. And I think he came incredibly close and possibly already did so. You notice that straight after the November the 5th moment, he disappeared for a period of 10 days, which would indicate to me that he was having some stents put in, etc. Some work done. He's also disappeared regularly since, as they keep doing work on him. Now, why is he not gone? Well, when we go through life and we're reaching the end of our life, we get given these opportunities to take these off-ramps where we, as entities, can choose whether to pass or not. And I'm just going to use a few examples from my own personal life, not me personally, but those people I know, to give an example of such. Now, for those that have been following me for a while know that my mother went through a major health incident last year, about, what was it? 14 months ago or so, and I spent 4 months overseas looking after her to bring her, get her back home again afterwards. And she's doing brilliantly, so thank you very much. And all your prayers and your light that you sent out to her at the time made a huge difference. Now, when she had the health incident initially and she was put into emergency into hospital, and they were doing all sorts of things like blood transfusion, platelet transfusions, all sorts of tests, etc., on her to try and stabilize her and bring her back from the brink. That first night when she was in hospital, when she was sleeping, she was given the vision of being on like a subway station, the train station, subway station, something along those lines. And the train pulled up into the station and the doors opened. So she was standing on the platform, the train pulled up, the doors opened. She said in the train it was full of pink eggshells. Now I know there's a spiritual meaning to that. She looked it up. I can't remember what it is, but if you're curious, Google it. So the pink eggshells were filling the carriage of the floor of the train. She had the option to step on the train, and she chose not to. Now, she fully believes, my mother is very spiritual, she fully believes that she was being given the choice to pass that first night or stay and fight. And she did stay and fight because her journey's not finished, as affirmed by my soothsayer the other day. Apparently, there's still more to come. She chose not to step on the train. So the doors then closed and the train departed the station. Now, I gather a lot of people talk about being at a bus stop and a bus stopping and they've given the option to get on, etc. It's almost like a metaphorical where the spirit world is bringing something that we understand on this skin being level to either have the choice to pass over at that time or not. And that is what we call an off-ramp. So as we go through life, we are given, as situations happen, we are given the choice of particular off-ramps. And we choose whether to or not. One of them might be the feeling of you're driving along and all of a sudden, oh man, I've got to go to the bathroom, really got to go to the bathroom. And you're looking around for a stop to pull up. You pull up, you go to the bathroom and you go, really? I didn't really need to go to the bathroom. And you hop back in the vehicle and keep going. That is your guides giving you the option to avoid something down the road. Now, you could have ignored the need to go to the bathroom and kept driving, and there would have been an event potentially down the road. That may have been an off-ramp or may have been an accident or may have been something equally confronting. So we are given the choice as skin beings to take these options or not. Another alternative to not getting on the train is my father-in-law. Love him dearly, don't want to see him go anytime soon. However, his health is, let me put it this way. When I was talking to my soothsayer the other day, she said, is he really still alive? Like he's stubbornly staying on this earth realm. And the reason being is that he lives over the road from his equally ill health sister. They are about the same age. They both lost their partners, became widow and widower within a week of each other. It was literally days of each other, through different reasons. My mother-in-law had a massive stroke, and the sister's partner had motor neurone disease and passed away from that. But literally within days of each other, they became widow and widower. They live across the road from each other. He has this stubborn obligation that he is meant to look after. He needs to look after her, and she has this stubborn obligation that she needs to look after him. So both of them, and neither of them will move into any sort of care. I mean, the best option for them would be buy a house together in a village where they can be looked after, but neither want to go down that path. So that's respecting their wishes. But it's too stubborn to move on. And I feel that when one of them goes, the other will pretty much go within days, weeks at the absolute most, but I suspect within days. So what I'm really getting, and entertainment only with the orange twerp, is that he was meant to be gone a long time ago. But he is too stubborn to pass. Now I'm going to use the Smith-Waite Tarot deck, just do a quick reading on this. And just see, so we've got the Hierophant and the nightmare situation with the government. There's a couple of factors here. Thank you. Where's my guides? Are telling me there's a couple of factors here. First of all, the regime hasn't got through everything it wants to achieve while he is still on this mortal coil. So there is that. They are desperately trying to push everything through before he falls off the twig. Before news comes out that he has fallen off the twig. They're desperately trying to push everything through that they can get. Um, Secondly, he doesn't want it. He's stubbornly, the skin being portion, his spirit, I suspect, has already moved on, which is part of the dementia. But his skin being is stubbornly refusing. So, stubbornly refusing. The Emperor's popped out there. But I do feel what is going to happen is he's finding he's getting further and further entrapped in his body. I've been getting for a long time now that he will have a stroke. He won't live long with the stroke, but he will hopefully live, well, he won't. I just see him in this depressing hallway in a military medical facility, muttering about how unfair life is, etc. I just don't feel he'll live particularly long, and he won't actually learn the lessons he's supposed to learn. But let's have a look. Let's have a look. What do we need to know about the orange twerp's health? The narcissist just refuses. Okay. I just want to mention very quickly, as a side note, squirrel quokka moment, the fabulous work that the donations coming into food pantries, the cafes that are providing free meals. Well, they were providing free meals until you guys, the community, everybody stepped up and said, hang on, let me pay for some. So the donations are coming in. It could be as simple as when you're getting yourself your lunch, you say, oh, can I put another couple of dollars towards another meal? I mean, I know you guys don't necessarily have a lot of money at all. Things are really tight and you need to look after yourself and your community first, but it can be as simple as making a chickpea vegetable crock pot and sharing it with a neighbour or something, with some rice to extend it out. You get what I mean? Like, it doesn't need to be anything huge, but to the person on the receiving end, it is priceless. Okay, but what I want to have a look at, what do we need to know about why the orange twerp is refusing to pass? Okay, we've got the narcissist here. Basically, his ego is refusing to let go. Okay, challenged by his declining health, he's not going to have a choice in the end. This is the mausoleum. It can be a death card. It is a challenge position, but I think this is more sort of being compulsory forced to step aside, to lie down through a stroke or otherwise means. It's going to be interesting to see whether the three of swords comes through. Three swords. The Three of Swords, 1, 2, 3, three swords with the fourth sword of truth on the bottom here. The Three of Swords is about a vascular event. It is about being betrayed, and it may be a betrayal by his own body. That's his challenge. At the foundation, we've got the Lover's card, the Archangel overseeing the contract and agreement that was made, the energy that he's stewing in. There's some sort of, he's got unfinished business that his soul contract has contracted to, is what I'm getting from that. But he is on this massive decline here on this side as the youth are coming, stepping up. And yes, I'm going to have a look at Shady in another reading today. But yeah, the energy he's stewing in at the moment is, it's almost like the Archangel is calling him home. Now, I don't believe in heaven and hell. I do believe that the life review could be rather hellish for some. And I read, oh gosh, this was years ago, about 2 years ago, something, or even longer than that, that I read on past lives for the Orange Twerp. If you put Trump past life in the search engine, you might find them. The search option from the main page. I got that he will have 2 more lifetimes of being literally a poverty-stricken, homeless nobody, completely irrelevant, before he learns the lesson that he could have done so in this lifetime but refused to do so. So 2 more hell realm for him lifetimes to go through before he actually learns his lesson. That's what I get. But yeah, okay. In the past, we've got, this is my card for the White House. The rah announcements coming from the White House, but you've got in the background the people walking away. So you have, he was installed in the White House, he's ruling by royal decree, which is another reason. I get that this is actually the main reason that they don't want to reopen government, is so that they can basically make Congress irrelevant and rule by royal decree. The next step is to try and break the judicial system, which at the moment is holding the line. A few people have come and have said, well, you know, it's so that they can't seat this last rep who will vote for the Epps files being released. What can happen is the Epps file, with the vote, the Epps files would come out of the committee and onto the main floor of the House, but it can then sit on the desk and go to the place that bills that the House Speaker don't want to bring to the floor go to die. Remember when, was it McConnell was the Senate leader and the Dems had the House, but the Republicans had the Senate? McConnell, God, he's got a lot to answer for. Remember when he was the Senate leader, and I think there was something like 400 plus bills sitting on his desk that the House had passed, but McConnell refused to bring to the Senate. So this is the sort of thing I'm talking about in regards to the Epps files. Johnson can delay. My real belief about not opening up the government is this rule by royal decree, South Korean style. Remember how admiring he was of Kim Jong-un back in the first regime? Yeah, well, notes were being taken. Okay, crowning this reading. So his declining health, it cannot be stopped. They're trying to stabilize it. It's on the decline. It cannot be stopped, this decline. One day he might seem a bit up, but the next day it's almost like 1 step forward, 2 steps back every time. So they're desperately trying to get him to stay the distance because they want to try and when I say they, I'm talking about those behind the regime are desperately trying to get him past the midterms. So you're looking at just over a year now for the midterms. If they can get him past the midterms, first of all, they can then implement all that they want. And then Shady can step up. Shady and Witchwife are going to can step up, and then Shady can legitimately be there, theoretically, for the next 10 years. So they're desperately trying to keep his health stabilized to get him past that point. When I was reading prior to November the 5th last year, I kept going. They want to drag him over the line. They're going to hook or by crook drag him over the line. I thought that was the January 5th line and then the inauguration line. But in hindsight, because I've got a hindsight's a wonderful thing when you're doing tarot, because often this is just me, a skin being, trying to interpret the cards and the messages I'm given, and it's not always a clear picture. That line, I suspect, was the actual midterms, which then gives Shady a 10-year run, where if they invoke insurrection acts and emergency war acts and all sorts of whatever else they do when Congress is inefficient or just does not exist anymore, it's a clear run for 10 years. This is why it's so important for, first of all, the orange twerp to depart the scene before the midterms, preferably before the year is out this year, but also we the people to stand up. Okay, the Knight of Wands, volatile information being brought forward. Okay, so the immediate future, there's going to be some sort of big announcement that comes forward about his declining health with that Six of Pentacles. They're not going to be able to hide it any longer. They're not even hiding it now. Goodness me, the Japanese Prime Minister had to go and fetch Papa from wandering off in the park. Yeah, trying to balance it, doling out the medication. Let's see where this goes. But internally, he's done. The sword of truth, the sort of cutting through the crown. The laurel leaves are drooping. There is no denying. Okay, hopes and fears. The Fool. New beginning. New youthful, exuberant energy. However, it might be a stepping off the cliff. The outcome, Eight of Pentacles, going through the motions, an offer being made to, and okay, and then we've got the King of Pentacles to keep him on the throne. Could also be the foolishness of what they're doing, but this, to me, it's rinse, repeat. Expect to see more bruising on the hand. Possibly not. They might put a direct port in. The Knight of Cups offering up elixirs to keep the King of Pentacles on the throne. But it's just going to be too much. It's going to be too much. They're not going to be able to do so. When events happen, they will happen very quickly with that Knight of Swords. And let's see where it goes. I was just looking at the next card because the next card is We the People with the King of Cups. Something, again, happening very quickly, because when it happens, it will happen very quickly. And then you've got the King of Swords coming forward. New strategy, new planning. And we've got the illusion, delusion, smoke and mirrors, desperately trying to hold on to his health, but there is the vascular moment, and the baton gets passed over. Okay. It is coming. It is coming. It's one of those, as I explained, it's very much about that he's already been offered multiple options to go, which he has ignored. And there are things like getting the stents put in, getting various surgeries done, the experimental medication. There's just a lot of things that are stepping in. Oh gosh, and I say poker shuffle, and he has had vascular events in the past, absolutely. And it's a bit like, also going to point out with my father-in-law and his sister, lovely people, don't want to see them to go, but it is incredibly, heartbreaking to see the health cycle downwards. So kind of hoping when they're just one morning they'll just wake up unalive. The sister, I think about 5 years ago, was it that long ago, or 3 years ago, something like that, had a test done and they found a massive clot in her carotid artery and had surgery to remove it. Again, that's the sort of thing when I'm saying there is an off-ramp option and it is thwarted to keep going. Another week or two later, or she'd chosen to ignore, she very possibly would have passed from a massive stroke. Same with my mother. My mother was booked in to have her annual doctor's appointment. The appointment was brought forward by 2 weeks because there was a big waiting period, being semi-rural. Was brought forward 2 weeks. They rang her and said, "Oh, do you want it?" And she ummed and ahed and said, "Oh, might as well." She was going to not to, thinking she would leave it for someone who was more urgent than her. If she hadn't said yes to that appointment 2 weeks earlier, definitely would have been deceased. So again, there was an off-ramp with the doctor's appointment. There was off-ramp with that first night in hospital for her, both of which free will personal decisions kept her going on the journey. Okay, I hope that explains it for you a little bit. Just know it will happen. There is only 2 guarantees in life, and if you're a billionaire, you only have one. And the guarantee is that when you are born, you will eventually pass, and what you do in the middle is what is really important, and that is called life, and life is for living. Okay, love to you all. Take care. Catch you shortly.